A hunter dies when the bear he was hunting falls out of the tree and lands on him. A police officer shot himself to impress his girlfriend. And men have died from pneumonia after using bat poop to grow marijuana. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian in a closet. I got 3 weird stories for you. Let's go. A hunter was killed after a bear fell from the tree and landed on him during a hunting accident. This took place in the state of Virginia, where hunting bears seems to be a thing. A father has died after being struck by a bear falling from a tree. This is according to the state wildlife officials who are running an investigation, which suggests that a group of hunters apparently chased a bear up into a tree. Then, as the group retreated from the bottom of the tree, one of the hunters shot the bear that was in the tree. The bear fell out of the tree at that point and landed on top of 58-year-old Lester C. Harvey Jr. of Phoenix, Virginia, who was standing 10 feet from the bottom of the tree. One of the hunters provided first aid until EMTs arrived. It says Lester was transported to a hospital with his serious but stable condition, but soon afterward he died of his injuries. Well, sometimes karma bites you in the ass, and sometimes it falls on you and crushes you to death. This has to be hands down the strangest way I've ever learned of a human being killed by a bear. And it makes me wonder, is there some higher power out there that's a big fan of Looney Tunes cartoons and is just reenacting them in the real world right before our eyes? It seems like it. At least on Weird AF News, this zany stuff is going on. All right, back to the details. Let's round this out. It says Lester was rushed to 2 different hospitals and died from his injuries on Friday. 2 different hospitals? That's bizarre. The first hospital was like, he's dead. And they were like, you eat crow. We're going to get a second opinion. It also says here the police department is not currently seeking any charges related to this incident. I suppose they're just calling it a hunting accident. All right, now let me see. Where did I put that sympathy for dead hunters? It's got to be around here somewhere. Is it under my chair? Where did I put that? Sympathy for dead hunters. Nope, I don't have it. I just don't have it at all. I'll tell you, I certainly don't have any empathy for hunters that are injured hunting defenseless bears up in a tree. I mean, they chase it up a tree and then shoot it up there. I mean, that's just horrible. It's just horrible. Why do people do that? And why bears? I mean, I know you can eat them, but you got to cook them they got to be so well done because bears have a lot of worms and this sort of thing. Like, how could that meat even taste good at all, given the fact that you got to basically burn it to make it safe to eat? I just don't understand this with all the bear hunting. I'll tell you right now, though, that freezer full of the disgusting bear meat that I was referring to is really going to hit different this holiday among this crew over there in Virginia. A police officer faces loss of license for shooting himself in order to impress his girlfriend. So here's a brilliant idea. If you want to impress your significant other, just shoot yourself. Well, at least that seemed to be the ingenious plan of former Memphis Police Department officer Nolan Sledge. This genius decided that the best way to grab his girlfriend's attention was by firing a bullet. Can you guess where he shot himself? I'll give you some choices. Was it A, in the buttocks? Was it B, in the genitalia? Was it C, in the arm? Or B, in the shoulder? If you said, or D, in the shoulder. If you said D, in the shoulder, you were correct. Well, I'd be a terrible game show host. According to the Peace Officer Standards and Trainings Commission, this police officer, Nolan Sledge, might soon face the consequences of his little stunt. Ooh, what are they going to do? It says here they're recommending that he be terminated from law enforcement. Wow. Who would have thought? Shoot yourself as a police officer? You lose your job. You shoot a civilian for no reason? You get a paid vacation. Very strange penalties over there in the old PD. All right, let's keep reading and find out some more details. I'm wondering, when he called 911, did he say, "Officer down"? Also, I'm interested to see if his girlfriend, was she impressed at all? All right, here's how it went down. Apparently, Sledge called MPD Communications, threatening to commit suicide. But instead of seeking help or talking it out, he opted for a more direct approach. He took his off-duty gun and fired a single shot into his shoulder. Was this because his girlfriend dumped him? I'm assuming. The old, you can't leave me, I'll kill myself approach, which I've heard of before. I don't think it's a good plan. It doesn't work. I mean, you might keep her back for your entire hospital stay or until you're back on your feet, but it's not going to last, man. Sledge emerged from this entire crazy ordeal relatively unscathed, it said. The report reveals that the bullet to his shoulder didn't cause any serious structural damage. Sledge later confessed that the entire shooting incident was just a ploy to get his girlfriend's attention after a little lover's quarrel. Wow, I mean, is this what the kids are doing these days? Back in my day, if you wanted to get back in her good graces, you invited her over and cooked her dinner, maybe rubbed her feet a little bit. Now you shoot yourself in the shoulder, it seems. This is what the kids are doing. Wow, we're really living in a TikTok challenge world in more ways than one, aren't we? It says here they're going to do a formal vote on Sledge's fate. And if they decide to strip him of his license, he can say farewell to working in any law enforcement agency in the state of Tennessee. However, there might still be hope for him to pack his bags and seek employment in other states, because clearly shooting yourself to impress your partner is a skill that shouldn't go to waste. Wow, whoever wrote this story is trying to be very funny. Not bad, given the circumstances. I'm going to say to all the young TikTokers out there, you don't need to go to these lengths to get your love back. You can, there's a thing out there called flowers. Flowers work, man. Also cheesecake. Cheesecake will do a hell of a job in getting someone to love you again, in my experience.
Bored at home? Head over to Chumba Casino and join some serious social casino fun. With hundreds of games at your fingertips, no purchase necessary. You can play anytime, anywhere. There's a special welcome bonus waiting for you when you sign up. Play for fun, play for free, and you could even redeem some great prizes. Visit ChumbaCasino.com and get ready to reel in the fun. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
Men have died from pneumonia after using bat poop to grow marijuana. Sounds like a Mad Lib sentence, doesn't it? 2 men from upstate New York have passed away from a type of pneumonia after using some bat guano to grow cannabis. These men, who were based in Rochester, New York, developed fatal cases of something called histoplasmosis. It's a lung infection that is caused by breathing in spores of the harmful histoplasma fungus. Well, I've never heard of this. Good to know. We're learning here, all right? Don't hang out with bats. Obviously, not even Batman. Can't trust them. These 2 guys, who are not being named in the story, had been using the droppings of the bats to fertilize some cannabis plants. I guess you could call it marijuano or guano ganja. Anyone got a better one than that? Call me, 646-450-2012. I want to hear it. They're funny. It's funny. The article here says, exposure to bat guano among cannabis growers appears to be a recent trend that can lead to histoplasmosis cases and outbreaks. A trend? I've never heard of this trend, and I know people who grow cannabis. I do live in California. I've even visited some cannabis farms. I know people that grow. I've never heard of this, using bat guano. Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. They use a lot of worm casings, stuff like that to help the fertilizer. Bat guano seems dangerous. I know you can buy it though at like farm stores and stuff. But if you're gonna use it, I mean, you can't be breathing it in, and you gotta wash your hands. I mean, bats are carriers, man. They're immune to everything that kills humans, which makes them a perfect breeding ground for all of that, death. So I don't recommend this. They do have some more details about how the men were affected. One guy, 59, had emphysema, which is a disorder that affects parts of the lungs. He had been admitted to the hospital for respiratory failure. He had lost weight for 6 weeks before he was seen and had a sore throat and difficulty swallowing. When he was admitted, he was weak and infected with bacteria. He was treated for pneumonia and the presence of bacteria in the blood, but still needed to be put on a ventilator. A biopsy showed that he had fungi that was consistent with histoplasma. He reported the use of the bat guano before he went into respiratory failure. The other man, 64 years old, had a condition in which narrow arteries reduced blood flow to his arms and legs. Oh, great. He had bypass surgery and was hospitalized for low levels of sodium and other nutrients in the blood. He lost 35 pounds over several months, had a chronic cough. The patient reported a heavy bat infestation in his attic with a thick layer of guano that he inspected on multiple occasions, intending to use it as fertilizer for his cannabis plants. He denied other potential exposures to histoplasma. It sounds like he just went in his attic and scraped this guano down, and both of these idiots went and used it to grow their cannabis. That's what happened. Wow. Can you imagine? You discover, like, in your attic, bat guano and all. Wait. First of all, what's going on in your attic? Like, get that taken care of. Get your life in order. And if it is in there, don't spend time up there and collect it. Bring it to your cannabis facility. What is wrong? I mean, this is just like, there's dumb and then there's like batshit dumb. The article ends by saying bats are one of the few species infected with this histoplasma fungus. But bird droppings can also contribute to this sort of infection, so be careful. Just basically don't be hanging out with poop. I mean, I think if you just avoid poop in your life that isn't your own, you can be okay. Although I know people are like ingesting other people's poop for health purposes. I've covered a story about that. They're warning here that, though, given recent legalization of cannabis and the promotion of bat poop as fertilizer, it's important to raise public awareness about its potential risks. Commercial biofertilizers containing bat guano should be tested for the fungus before reaching the market. If testing is not feasible, risk mitigation strategies should be implemented. Or just avoid it altogether. There's other fertilizers you can use that, won't kill you. And then lastly, I'll just say, if you can, just don't hang out in caves. It's not a good place to be. Any place where you can inhale the spores. You don't want that. You want to stay away from the poop. Again, I can't emphasize enough. Stay away from the poop. Poop in nature. Run away. Danger time. Danger time. Poop in nature. Danger time. Hi, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News Podcast. Thank you so much for keeping with me. And if you're new to the show, please consider subscribing or like it. I don't know. Follow it. Whatever. I don't know what platform it's platform dependent. What sort of verb I'm supposed to put out there for a CTA. That is a call to action. CTA. They always say when you're a creator, give them a CTA, man. What's your CTA? Call to action. My call to action is to buy me coffee. That's what my call to action is for the holidays. Go to my website, weirdafnews.com, and click on Buy Jonesy a Coffee. Or you can join the Patreon, which is like buying me a coffee every month. That's pretty sweet. You can also do that at weirdafnews.com. I got some emails that were pretty cool. Irene sent me a link to the Guinness Brewery Chicago. Apparently Guinness has got a brewery in Chicago. I had no idea. I was ranting on, it was either yesterday's or the day before's podcast about how Guinness should have a brewery in Boston. And I was sort of speculating that they did not have a brewery in the United States. I should have looked it up. I mean, I just assumed. And when you assume, you make what, guys? An ass of you and me. Isn't that what they used to say? Anyway, so I guess shout out to the Guinness Brewery in Chicago. I would love to do a show there if they're listening. If you guys are listening, pay me to come over there and do a show, and we'll pack the place, and I'll give you some free press on my podcast as I'm doing right now. And this is reaching upwards of 170 people, so this is some pretty good exposure, I would say, right? Also, shout out to Michelle Blewett, who sent me a photo of her with blue hair and purple hair. She wrote me a nice note. She says, I just want to send you a few pictures of a girl with blue hair and sometimes other colors who is not crazy. At least that's what they tell me. Good luck with your life, man. Yeah, I mentioned recently that you can't trust a girl with blue hair. They're kind of crazy. So, yeah, it was a gross oversimplification and overgeneralization, I admit, but I find that when I'm trying to get jokes, sometimes I just got to exaggerate and overgeneralize for the laugh. And so I apologize to girls with blue hair that aren't crazy. As I apologize to Karens who aren't crazy. I know Karens are getting a lot of heat past few years, and I've even given them some crapola on my podcast. But there's a lot of very sweet Karens out there. I know some. So if you're a Karen with blue hair and you're awesome and really sweet, and you don't go on Yelp and write reviews about podcasts you only listen to for 5 minutes, then shout out to you as well. All right. If you want to email me, it's funnyjones@gmail.com, and the phone number that we have here, 646-450-2012. I love you. Good night.